The YouTube live on TikTok. Let me know if you could see me and hear me in the chat. I have a really cool topic today, so I'm really excited to get into today's topic, which is the toxic skinny vibes that's going around versus being naturally thin. Totally inspired by um, my program that I'm working with clients, helping them transform their body, my 12-week one-on-ones. I've been learning so much, not only through other people's experiences and what they're going through on their own body transformation journey, but I'm learning a lot about myself and the things that I want to do to like change my figure and stuff. So I want to come on here and talk about that because I seriously don't think, and I can speak to this because this was me, okay? I've been on camera since I was like 17 years old. I was in music, I was in modeling. I totally understand. And with social media, it's not like that doesn't make a difference too. I totally understand the fixation on how your body looks. You know, it's just oh, thank you. I love your chats. Keep it up. There's not much like you. Thanks so much for saying that. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Today we're talking about body and like our figure and the toxic skinny mindset versus being naturally thin. But even beyond like the skinny trend, I think that this can apply to your figure, even no matter what your goals are, because with everything, there's like a toxic way to go about getting those results. And then there's like a healthy and sustainable way to get those results. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today because I got a really interesting comment and I'm not mad, but I am going to talk about it. And, I'm going to bring it up in today's video. So it's not personal. I just want to share it here. So, how have you been? I've been good. We're doing a live stream today talking about toxic skinny versus naturally thin. And in general, just a way to get your figure in a healthy way versus toxic ways. I'm going to identify how it looks when you go about it the toxic way and how it looks when you go about it the healthy way. And hint, you want to do it the healthy way because you want those changes to last. And the thing is that I can speak about this and I can proudly say with my chest that it is not healthy to overly obsess about food, about your body, about how you look. Obviously, that's common sense, but it's almost unavoidable. And I was so shocked because I thought it was just me, right? And I thought it was something that I had to overcome. And, I was just so interested in this topic since I was young because of being on camera. Like, it just makes you look at your body so differently. Like, it makes, especially when you've been on camera since you were little, you just start, like, you start wanting to change things about yourself. You want to lose weight. They say the camera adds 10 pounds. That's true. Like, sometimes the camera just can't capture how you look in real life and it'll play games with you and it will cause like distortion on your eyes. And I'm going to share at some point this week. I'm going to put it, I have to remember, but I had a membership program before where every month we did different topics and there were like different themes and stuff. And we did journaling and it was like really interesting conversations. And there was this one month where we did body dysmorphia, and I shared more about like my personal journey with like my body image, my figure and stuff. So I'm going to share that at some point. Stay tuned on my YouTube channel because I'm probably going to upload it on there. But I'm just so shocked. And, we all see the trend going around about like skinny. Being skinny is like the thing to do right now, right? Like, you want to be skinny, you want to be thin, thin is in, whatever they say. Skinny talk, that's what's happening on TikTok right now. We have our influencers that are just coming out and they're like, I love being skinny. I want to be skinny. Like, people are just being so vocal about this right now. And, it's really interesting. And my thing is that it just goes to show, like, even if we don't talk about it, like, everyone is constantly thinking about how their body looks. Like, everyone cares about how their body looks. Everybody cares about their figure. And it's a very, how do they say, polarizing topic because people have such different opinions on what is considered healthy, what is not considered healthy, how you should look. And people have opinions on opinions on opinions, and it gets very triggering, just to talk about it. I feel like it's almost like the same thing as when you bring up religion and people have all of these, emotions and really personal convictions about religion. People have, very strong opinions about money. It's the same thing when it comes to body image, when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to your health and like diet and stuff. Like it's equally as polarizing and people are equally as like, ready to like, get on with that topic. So I want to talk about it today because I feel like it's impossible to ignore. And also, I'm focusing on that right now in my current era of my health and life coaching. We're doing body transformation right now. I think I'm going to end that offer this month. So if you're interested in that and that speaks to you and you're serious about wanting to transform your body, I have my 90-day program available. I'm probably going to stop doing that this month, okay? And something that's really interesting is that I'm noticing is that it takes so much energy to like coach, and it's not a good or bad thing, but I just noticed that it takes a lot of like focus and you are basically like taking on other people's energy as your own and helping them through that process. And your body image is such a sensitive topic and we all have like our different things, and I've even been triggered and I've had to look at myself and be like, okay, Renee, like what was that? So I love this topic. I'm really passionate about it right now. I've seen a lot of progress with my own body image in the past like month or two. I feel a lot more confident. I feel like I've, fixed my habit. I told you guys on my, that's so funny that you said that because not even, let me try to stay focused. Okay. So the reason I'm gonna try to look at the just in general on YouTube too and on TikTok, I'm gonna look at the comments after I get through the topic so that I can stay on topic because people watch my replays on my channel and I think about like, them hearing me get off track and so I want to try to stay the topic and then I'll do all of the comments at the end. So I'm not ignoring your comments, but yeah. Anyways, so that's why body image is so triggering because, we all think that we need to look a certain way. And one of the most interesting things that I've observed with my clients so far is that no two have the same results that they are looking for with their body transformation. So when you think of body transformation, you'd automatically think of somebody wanting to lose weight or just be as thin as possible, especially with women. Like you would think that's their only goal is just be skinny, right? But that's not what I've seen. Everybody that I work with has completely different goals. I kind of went into that a lot more on my last live stream, but it's just so interesting. And I'm starting to gain my own kind of philosophy. Hold on, my stream almost ended, but I'm starting to kind of make my own thoughts about like body image and stuff. And one of the things that I'm noticing is that I feel like people who hold up. This is why sometimes I like doing the recorded videos because I can't stay focused. Okay, I'm gonna try my best to stay focused. But yeah, one of the things that I'm noticing is that people like what was I even saying? Hold on. You're doing great. We're engaged. Okay, thank you. I don't know what he was saying, but that's the thing about the internet is that people think they know you and they don't. And yeah, so that's just crazy. Someone said, to be honest, I really respect what you're doing. Not much women are as aligned with this side of spirituality as you are. Well, so if you're new to my page, my YouTube channel and my TikTok is based around my business, which is life and health coaching. I have different offers during different times of the year. And, I appreciate all of the comments and stuff, but mainly I'm trying to promote my work. So just want to make that clear because I feel like sometimes people think, even though I like sharing these videos online anyway, it's not entertainment, right? It's kind of like a bridge into my work. So I hope that you guys can understand that and appreciate that. So yeah, with body image and stuff, the goal, this is my current philosophy around all of it. I know that weight loss and body figure and health can be very triggering topics, but this is my personal conclusion as of now. I reserve the right to change my mind at any given time. This is personally how I feel. That the goal is not to look like anyone else. It's to be confident in your own body, strong in your own body, your own mind. I made this post on my TikTok that wasn't well received. Okay. I'm just going to say that. And I can understand why, it could be triggering. But I made a post that was like, what did it say? It was like, what I wish I knew before I gained 10 pounds. And the reason I say I know it was triggering is because maybe some people look at that and they're like 10 pounds, like that's nothing. Like 10 pounds is a joke, like I have, more weight to lose, or they think like that's not big of a deal, like first world problems. But I want to argue that because I feel like at the end of the day, if you are dissatisfied with your body, if you are dissatisfied with your appearance, if you know that you could be doing better and you're not getting those results in your life, it all comes down to the same thing. Basically, you're dissatisfied with your body. So the emotion that's behind that is the same, whether it's just 5 pounds that you have to lose, 10 pounds that you have to lose. You know what I mean? So I can understand why it's triggering, and like it's completely real. Like I even have those moments myself. But at the end of the day, the core issue is being dissatisfied with your image, with how you look. Does that make sense? So, thank you. Okay. So let me know if that makes sense, right? So that's why body image is so triggering, because we think that we need to look a certain way. And my whole thing, like my whole mission with what I'm doing right now, is to just help people become confident in their body. And if they want to make changes to their body, if they're not happy with how they look right now, I'm the one that's gonna be completely indifferent and be like, "You can do it if that's what it takes for you to feel good and you wanna get to this point, I'm gonna help you get there, I'm gonna help you make the lifestyle changes." It's not up to me to be like, "That's too extreme," or "That's not enough," or put my own personal opinion and judgment on another person's body, which, I hope people can pick up on that kind of mentality and learn that sometimes it's really not nice to comment on other people's bodies, but that's just the way that the world is. But anyways, at least with myself and with my work, that's not my goal to like judge what you want to do, right? Like I believe that you have the right to look however you want to look, weigh however you want to weigh, have the exact body that you want, and my mission is to help you get there through lifestyle changes and not like this toxic kind of mindset around weight loss. And there's a lot of, I don't know if you guys know like that creator, Liv Schmidt. She's like really popular right now with like weight loss and stuff, and she kind of gets a lot of like crap about skinny talk and promoting unhealthy eating behaviors and stuff. But I feel like, even all that aside, I'm not going to comment on her work and what she's doing, but all of the controversy around her aside, and whether what she's doing is right or wrong, I still hold I still believe that people have the right to look however they want to look. Like some people say she's too skinny, and what she's promoting is kind of promoting those kind of eating behaviors with, younger women who are like more impressionable and stuff, and making them think that they want to look a certain way. I see it a little bit differently. Let me know if you agree or disagree. The whole point is to start a conversation and just start thinking about these things. But I feel like, even if for me, if I wouldn't personally want to be that thin, people have the right to look how they want to look. Like if that's how she wants to look and she's claiming that she's healthy, then that's her thing. Like some people enjoy being thinner. Some people enjoy that. Some people enjoy being more fit, having muscle definition. Like I feel like people have the right to look however they want to look. And that's more what I think of when I think of like positive body image. Are you happy? Are you comfortable in the body that you are in right now as of today? If not, what do we have to do? What kind of changes do we have to make to get you to the point where you're comfortable in your own skin? Obviously, if you're comfortable in your own skin right now, it doesn't apply to you. So just, and I'm not talking to you. If it doesn't apply, don't take this advice. Okay? So yeah, I posted that thing knowing that maybe people wouldn't like it. And I realize it could be triggering that, I'm saying that my life was completely flipped upside down and it took me a long time to bounce back from gaining 10 pounds, when I know a lot of other people experience times in their life when they're gaining a lot of weight, maybe even for medical reason, for life changes and stuff. I understand how it sounds. It might sound a little bit like, who is this girl? Like, whatever. But at the end of the day, the problem is that when I was at the time, now I'm good. At the time when I was experiencing issues with my weight and balancing that out, I like, you know, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy with my figure. And no matter what you look like, if you're not happy with your figure, we're all experiencing the same thing, even if we look differently. Okay. So I'm just saying, like, there's common ground there, no matter how you look. Okay. So sometimes, you know, it's the same emotion. The same emotion is being dissatisfied. And sometimes it has nothing to do with how much you weigh or what size you are, but it's about your confidence. What size do you feel confident at? Some people feel more confident when they're curvier, when they have more muscle, or when they have a little bit more meat. Like, some people really do feel more confident that way. Some people feel more confident when they are very skinny, and very skinny, that's subjective, right? Like, who's to say, like, what's too skinny? As long as you're healthy, like, we can't really say that a number on the scale is right or wrong if that's your preference, right? I respect people's preferences to look how they want to look. So, anyways, I'm seeing all of these videos on TikTok and like rage baiting style videos with the skinny talk trends, and all these people coming out saying that they prefer to be skinny, and like, this is what I eat in a day to stay skinny, and how being skinny will change your life. Like, there's a lot of skinny like propaganda, and like, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I do believe that people get to look the way they want to, as long as they're doing it in a healthy way. And we're going to talk about toxic ways of getting the body that you want versus, more positive, sustainable ways to actually maintain the figure that you are happy and comfortable in. Okay. And that's kind of my thing, is that you have the right to look how you want to look. Like, that's my philosophy. I just want to help you get there in a healthy way. All right. And if this topic is interesting to you and you want to kind of get started and do it on your own with your own self discipline and your own routines, and you feel like you have the tools that you need, check out my free 5-day body and mind reset guide. It's linked. I should probably put it in the link. I'm going to link it in the chat on YouTube. And if you're watching me on TikTok, that free guide is on my page. So basically, what it is, it's a 5-day guide that takes you through journaling prompts and just like mentality things every day. It's very simple, super beginner friendly to people who are wanting to kickstart their own body transformation. Like, maybe you feel like comfortable doing these things on your own. You don't necessarily need a coach. Download my 5-day reset guide, because I feel like the more tools that you have available to you, the more that you put things in front of you, like that you're consciously aware of every day, it builds up the mindfulness. It reminds you of why you have those goals in the first place. And, a journal is like the perfect thing. I personally love journaling. I feel like it changed my life. So download that free guide, okay? I plan on making a lot more free resources, but they're going to change. So if that one speaks to you, download that now before I change that offer, because I'm probably going to do my video training on body dysmorphia next as my free downloadable thing next. So if you want the guide, if you want that journal, get it while it's there. Okay. So let's talk about being taught. Okay. So this is more for my YouTube channel, might apply more to women, but you're free to listen if you want to. Okay. So there's toxic skinny versus being naturally thin. And these words are triggering, right? Skinny, thin. Let's get out of that. Like, let's get out of the place where these words are triggering. Like, if you're happy and content with your own body and you're doing the things that you know that you need to do. And what I mean is, like, if you don't even see the results, but you know that you have to do A or B to get the body you want. If you want to lose weight, logically you need to maybe go on a calorie deficit, get some more movement in. If you want to gain muscle, you have to increase your protein and start lifting or something, whatever. Whatever it is that you know that you need to do, if you know that you're doing it and you trust the process, that's another thing. Trusting the process, because you're not going to see the results right away. A lot of people get lost on that part of just like, I'm not seeing anything and it's been like weeks, but do you have faith that you're doing what you're supposed to do? Okay, so it's going to come. It's just like laws of nature. Like you're going to lose the weight if you stick to a calorie deficit. You're going to gain muscle if you're eating protein and lifting, like, So trusting the process and like toxic skinny versus naturally thin. Oh, the whole reason I said that is because if you know you're doing the things that you need to do to get the body that you want, hearing the word skinny, hearing people talk about how they enjoy being skinny, hearing people talk about losing weight, gaining weight, being in this body, that body is not going to trigger you because you're doing good. Things only trigger you when deep down you're like, oh shit, like they're kind of right. Like there's something about what they said that's bothering you on like a deeper level. So toxic skinny versus naturally thin. This is what I wanted to say about that. I'm going to help you guys identify some of the toxic ways that we stay in shape versus the healthier ways, the more sustainable ways that we can stay in shape. Okay. And this goes beyond today's topic that I just want to add in here for people who are into like the mindset work around body transformation. This has been a really powerful tool for me. And YouTube, if you're watching this, I need to hear. Can you put something in the chat because it's dead? Okay, put a heart if you're watching and enjoying this video. I really appreciate it, and it's helpful to know that you guys are listening because I feel like I'm talking to myself. Okay, toxic skinny versus naturally thin. If you want to get anything, but we're going to talk about body image right now. If you want anything, right, the easiest way to make a change is to basically adapt the behavior and psychology of the person that already has those results. So, what I mean by that is if you're trying to lose weight, you should probably like study what the person who has the figure that you want is doing and probably try to implement that in your own life. You know what I mean? That's how you get those changes to stick, is by basically imitating the behavior and psychology of the people that have those results. That's why mindset work is so powerful, because if you can basically get into the mind of somebody who has the life that you want, who has the results that you want, see how they think, most importantly, because how they think determines what they do, and then what they do determines what they get out of life. But identifying the way that they think, that comes first. That's literally like what you have to do to see changes. So the same thing applies to getting the figure that you want, right? And I've been doing that lately by just studying. I've been reading two really cool books, and this what inspired the video today of like toxic skinny versus naturally thin, because one of the books I'm reading is Naturally Thin by Bethany Frankel. And first of all, I have to take a second and just appreciate Bethany Frankel, because this woman has lived like 10 lives. She's so cool. She's had like multiple businesses. She wrote this book, Naturally Thin. And I feel like when I read her books, she had another book, I forgot the name of it, but she kind of talked about like her life and stuff and her businesses and like how she got to where she was a few years ago. And I'm reading her book, Naturally Thin, right now. And it's like I'm learning more and more about her that I never knew. And I'm like, wow, how many lives can one person live? Like, she's so cool. And she has a lot of insight around creating healthy patterns of eating and healthy behaviors around eating. Because I think, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments if it's different, but she like her mom, she grew up, trigger warning, with a mom who had an ED. So she kind of had to unlearn a lot of toxic things around eating because of how she grew up, because she was surrounded by that. And then she wrote this book, Naturally Thin, trying to encourage people, to have a healthier lifestyle and get the body they want through a healthy way and not through this like, toxic way of wanting to be skinny. So I'm reading that one right now. That one's pretty good. And I really, really loved this book, but I'm so biased because I'm just a Francophile. I love anything French. It's called French Women Don't Get Fat. And that book is really cool because it talks about like lifestyle stuff and like holistic wellness, but it goes into like how to have a healthy relationship with food, which is, missing and almost like sabotaged in our society here in the US, at least, because, it's almost hard to like be intentional about what you eat when so many things are pushed and accessible. So those are the two books that I recommend, talking about, how getting into people's behavior and psychology helps them. 1 second. I got this new tea today and I like it. I like peach teas because they're pretty sweet. It makes you feel like you're drinking juice, but it's just a tea. Little things, little swaps, okay? They make a big difference. Also, on a side note, I shared it on my community post on YouTube, this recipe I tried today. Please try it this week and let me know if you like it. It was like a carrot salad and it literally tastes so good. It tastes like I bought it at a restaurant. I posted pictures on my YouTube, on my TikTok. Please try out that recipe because I couldn't believe that carrots could taste that good. I was like, damn. So I tried that one out today and I tried a recipe that I read in the Naturally Thin book that was supposed to be basically a healthier version of like cheesecake, but I don't know. I wouldn't go that far. Like it was good, but I don't know. It was like cottage cheese and I was like so excited. But anyways, I got my protein, so I'm happy about that. Happy about hitting my macros. But yeah, so those are the two books that I recommend because like I said, adapting the behavior and psychology of a person that already has those results that you're looking for is literally going to set you up for getting what you want because now you're seeing the world through that person's eyes. You're seeing the world through a person's eyes who already has those things. So I'm really interested in like reading about, not necessarily diet books, but like lifestyle books about people who, you know, claim to be naturally thin. That's what I'm reading right now. So let's talk about toxic skinny versus naturally thin. What is toxic skinny? Okay. Toxic skinny. Toxic skinny. Skinny talk. Arguably toxic. Okay? Because we're comparing our bodies to people online. That's probably not healthy. Okay? I have to take a break from TikTok sometimes because of that. So, maybe that's a relatable thing. Toxic skinny would obviously be comparing your body to somebody else because you have a unique body and you should be aiming for a goal that's realistic for you. Toxic skinny isn't a body type. It's not that I'm saying that being skinny is toxic. No, it's not. When I talk about toxic skinny, even beyond skinny, toxic fitness, like just toxic like body image, it's more of a mindset behind that is toxic and it's often a trauma response, okay, when you have this toxic mindset behind body image. And when I talk about toxic skinny, how you can know if you're experiencing toxic skinny or being influenced by toxic skinny culture is that the core of the toxic skinny mindset is about pursuing being thin at any cost. Like, no matter what, I have to be skinny. That's that toxic skinny mindset. Okay. If I'm going to do this at any cost, and most times, you're compromising your health. If you're compromising your health to get the results, it's probably toxic. Okay. So, the toxic skinny mindset, what's behind that is a lot of fear, okay? Fear of being undesirable. So instead of being motivated by wanting to feel your best and wanting to be in shape and like feel comfortable in your clothes and stuff, you're motivated by the fact that if you're not in this particular body, you won't look good. Like nobody's going to want you or you're not going to fit in or whatever. It's driven by fear. It's driven by constant comparison, constantly comparing your body to other people and being like, okay, I'm not there yet. That's another thing behind the toxic skinny mindset. How you could know if you're experiencing that right now. You're constantly comparing your body to other people. Obviously, not healthy. I kind of touched on that. Control issues around food and exercise. That's a toxic mindset behind body image. If you feel like you're having control issues around food and exercise, either you are completely out of control and you're like, you know, eating everything in front of you, like you feel out of control. That's more what I'm talking about. I'm not really talking about what kind of food you're eating, like that feeling of being out of control or feeling like you absolutely have to control everything that goes into your body or you're not going to be okay. Both ways is toxic, okay? Control issues around exercise, being overly obsessed with exercising. There is, believe it or not, there is such thing as addiction to exercise. I experienced that. It's crazy. You would think that something so good for you would always be positive, it would always help you, but it's like sometimes it gets stuck in a cycle of like you're overdoing it, you're over exercising, and then what happens? You overeat. And then you overexercise to compensate for overeating, and then you overexercise again, and it's a toxic cycle. Okay, that's another toxic mindset behind getting fit, getting skinny, quote unquote. Internalized fat phobia or societal pressure, that is another form of the toxic skinny mindset, is that you feel like you have to be this size, this small, or in this particular body, or you're going to be shamed by society because you picked up on the fact that people don't treat people who have more weight on them equally as people who are in good shape, better shape. I won't say good shape, who are fit. Like, that's the pressure that we internalize, and it causes us to be driven by fear to get that toxic skinny mindset, toxic fitness mindset. Toxic skinny mindsets can manifest as, if you experience any of these symptoms, just take a moment, reflect. You might be experiencing toxic skinny mindset. 1, obsessive calorie counting or extreme food restriction. I'm really careful about suggesting calorie counting to clients because I know it's kind of a slippery slope sometimes, and some people can't handle the numbers. Like, it does something to them, it triggers them the same way that the scale can kind of trigger them. So it's kind of like you have to see how that person is, if they can, if that's going to be an issue or not. But oftentimes, obsessive calorie counting or extreme food restriction can be a part of that toxic skinny mindset. Okay, we don't want to be obsessive, period. We want to no longer be available for obsession at all, ideally, but especially obsession over food, over exercise, over calories. Like, that's not healthy and that's not sustainable. And that's definitely going to be a roadblock to you getting the body that you want if you are experiencing high levels of obsession over calories and numbers and stuff. Working out as punishment for eating. All right. My life changed when I learned that basically, like, taking the exercise out of the equation of like getting the body you want, because you would think, a lot of people think, like, if they work out, they can compensate by eating a lot more. And then they wonder why they're not getting results, because it doesn't always work out that way. And that can also lead into a toxic cycle of overeating, overexercising, overeating, overexercising. So, working out, especially as a punishment for eating, is definitely a symptom of the toxic skinny mindset. I'm so sorry to say. Working out should never be looked at as a punishment. It should be something that you're doing because you want to feel good. You want to, get that, what they call, like, the runner's high, that dopamine feeling from working out. That's why I work out. I learned to do that. I learned that it doesn't replace the need to have balance and intentionality behind what you're eating. Like, that saying about, your abs being made in the kitchen is 100% true. So viewing exercise as a punishment for eating, definitely a toxic skinny mindset. Skipping meals to earn being thin. Toxic skinny mindset. I don't have to say much about that. Constantly checking the scale or the mirror. I can speak on this because I do remember, like, in the height of my, like, disordered eating and body image dysmorphia, body dysmorphia, all of that. I've had just about everything. At the height of that, I remember, like, trying to find a resolution, and I'm like noticing, I'm just trying to be aware of, like, what I'm thinking, what's triggering me, why am I doing these weird behaviors? And one thing I noticed was that, like, looking I was looking in the mirror so much. Like, I just noticed how much I was looking in the mirror. And that's basically what they call, like, body checking and stuff, right? So that can be a symptom of toxic skinny mindset, constantly checking the scale or the mirror, because it's almost in a way to, like, judge yourself. It's not coming from a place of, like, I love myself. How do I look? Or is my zipper open? It's not coming from, like, a normal reason behind wanting to look in the mirror. It's coming from a place of, like, oh, like, I look fat. Like, it's just toxic, toxic skinny mindset, constantly body checking, equating worthiness with body size, toxic fitness mindset, toxic skinny mindset. Okay, because obviously your body size doesn't determine your worth as a person, but it can obviously influence your self esteem, and that influences how you see your self worth. Okay, but it's not necessarily that your body weight is associated. What are we talking about? We are talking about naturally thin versus toxic skinny mindsets. That's what we're talking about today. And no, in general, just like, the toxic mindsets behind getting in shape and fitness versus the healthy and sustainable ways of getting in shape. But I'm focusing on skinny and naturally thin because they're like opposite from each other and they could probably be applied to like any kind of figure that you're looking for. But because right now I see a lot of skinny trends, I want to talk about this today. So right now we're going through how this toxic skinny mindset can manifest. All right, feeling guilty after eating. Who has experienced feeling guilty after eating? I'm gonna raise my hand. Okay, that's definitely a toxic skinny mindset, and it's such a big shift. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This even happened to me 2 days ago, where it's almost like you automatically feel shame for eating certain foods. It's so effed up. Like you have to untrain your mind from thinking that way. But I had a really nice moment, and I've personally been doing a lot of inner work in this area of my life for the past 2 months. That's why all of my content has been themed around body image and body transformation because I'm also doing that work on myself, and I'm not gonna lie. That's why I make these videos because that's what I'm inspired by right now. But literally like 2 days ago, I went to get coffee and I got a croissant and I totally enjoyed my croissant. And this might sound like so not a big deal to most people, but I noticed how after I had the croissant, like first of all, while I was eating it, I wasn't like cursing myself out in my mind, like, you shouldn't be eating this right now. Like, this is a bad food. You're fat. Like, I wasn't doing that. I was actually allowing myself to enjoy the croissant. And that afterward, I didn't feel regret. I feel like I truly experienced, the pleasure of eating that food. And I didn't notice how much I wasn't enjoying foods like that, even when I was choosing to eat them because of the shame and the guilt that I felt. So, you know what I mean? Feeling guilty after eating is definitely a shame response, and that's part of the toxic skinny mindset. Like, that's something that you would have to start releasing if you really want to have a healthy lifestyle and especially a healthy relationship with food, which is so important because it's not something that we can avoid. You know what I mean? Even if it goes beyond how you look, having that healthy relationship with food, that healthy relationship with lifestyle and fitness is always going to be relevant. Okay. Obviously, taking laxatives is toxic skinny 101, but even abusing caffeine or abusing any kind of appetite suppressant, I personally haven't used any of those, but I know that, that's a common thing that people do. So that's definitely a part of the toxic skinny mindset. Always chasing a lower weight, no matter how thin you are. Toxic skinny, okay, because there's clear boundaries about what's healthy and what's not. Okay, you have to gauge that based on your own height, your own weight, and of course, secretly hating your body even when you've reached your goal weight. All part of the toxic skinny mindset. And this can even apply to any fitness goal you have. If you get to that goal and you're still unhappy, you still feel like you're not good enough or whatever, you're like not satisfied, you want to just keep going harder and harder and harder, and you never feel that sense of personal fulfillment, you might be experiencing a toxic body image mindset. All right, so let's get into the mindset of people that are naturally thin or people that are naturally fit, naturally in shape. You use what applies to you. I'm using the term skinny and naturally thin because I'm a woman and a lot of women only care about being skinny if we're being real. So why not talk about it? And now that it's less taboo and it's trending, okay? So, what is the difference between the toxic skinny mindset and naturally thin? Naturally thin, like I told you guys, it's inspired by the book I'm reading, Naturally Thin by Bethany Frankel. But naturally thin is not about genetics, it's about healthy habits, a healthy lifestyle. It's about alignment, sustainability, and most importantly, people who are naturally thin, people who are naturally in shape, they trust themselves. They trust that they can make the best decisions for their life. That's kind of one of the main things that separates people who have a healthy mindset around their fitness, around their body image, versus people that have a toxic mindset around it, is that they have learned how to trust themselves, how to trust their decision, and then getting even deeper, how to trust their body's intuition around eating, which sometimes you have to train yourself to get to that point if you've been out of whack for a while. Totally, that happens, no judgment, but sometimes it takes some intentionality. So this is the difference between the toxic skinny, toxic fitness, and the naturally fit, the naturally thin. Naturally thin people Often, these are some of their habits, maybe not all of them, but these are definitely some of the habits that I've observed in people that have that figure that just comes naturally. You're like, how is it so easy for them? How can they eat whatever they want and still stay in shape? These are some things I noticed about what they do. Okay. And it's not this thing that's totally out of, what's it called? Out of reach. Okay. Naturally thin people, naturally fit people often eat mindfully and stop when full. Not because their app told them that this food is acceptable, but because their actual body is letting them know that they're full. Why? Because they're in touch with their hunger cues. Like they trust their body. They can follow their body's intuition. We all know about intuition on like a spiritual level, right? And on a mental level. What about your body's intuition? Are you tuned into your body's intuition? Are you really listening to your body? Can you trust your body, or is it out of whack because it's addicted to sugar? You know what I'm saying? Like I had that awareness about myself that I had to stop eating processed foods and sugar because your girl was addicted. Okay. And that took a while of, getting myself out of that bad habit. But naturally fit people, naturally thin people often eat mindfully and stop when full. Not from a plan, but from listening to their body. Period. Naturally thin people, naturally fit people often move their body regularly because it feels good. It's not coming from a place of punishment. It's not like, oh, schmear, like I gotta work out. I just had a cookie and now I have to get on the treadmill for an hour because I suck and I'm fat and I'm never gonna have the body that I want. And this is why, blah. Like they don't do that whole spiral. They don't have that cycle going on. Imagine, like how much space they have to think about other things, first of all. But they move their body regularly because it feels good. They have a consistent rhythm with food, sleep, and self care. So, all of that to say, these people who are naturally fit, naturally thin, that you're wondering how the hell are they doing it and looking this good and making it look so easy, one of the things that they're doing is they're regulated. That's what it is. Regulated. They have a consistent rhythm with food, sleep, and self care. They're not run by their desire for food. They're not run by the fear of not being in a certain body. They are, what's it called? They're regulated. And we can go into like your nervous system and stuff. I'm sure that's true. Naturally fit people, naturally thin people don't, okay, this one is T because I've been seeing this in people, in some of my clients, and it's something that we've had to work through. And I also used to experience this. So it's not like I'm judging, like this used to be me too. I know how triggering it can be. Naturally fit people, naturally thin people don't panic over fluctuations in their weight or bloating. So a few numbers on the scale going up or down is not going to throw off their entire day. Like they understand that that's a natural response of their body and they trust that they're going to reach that balance again. It's not a trigger for them, those numbers. They don't panic over that. Again, they're regulated. Naturally fit people, naturally thin people trust their bodies to balance out naturally. Again, they're not triggered by numbers. They know that they're doing the things that they need to do to either get the figure that they want or sustain the figure that they have. They make food and health choices out of love, not fear. Okay, they're choosing foods that are working for them and not against them. I've done this in my program with my one-to-one clients, but you can do this for yourself if you feel inclined. Identify the foods that are high energy versus low energy, and then naturally you start to incorporate high energy foods for you. Okay, that's going to be key. Like that's honest, that makes a really big difference. And it's definitely a habit of naturally thin, naturally fit people. They make food and health choices out of love, not fear. So it's kind of like, you see someone drinking a protein shake or like, having boiled eggs and you're having pizza or something. And you almost want to be inclined to think that that person is doing that to torture themselves because they want to be in shape. But I've noticed that it's sometimes hard for people to understand that that is a person's preference. Like they've trained themselves to now like these kinds of foods, to now want to eat these kinds of foods. Like they've trained their body to want that, okay, to crave like whole foods and stuff. That exists. It's not a myth, okay? They make food and health choices out of love, not fear. They have their goals in mind. They have their energy levels in mind. Like that's personally how I go about my fitness. I'm about, catering to like my energy levels because I work out. So I can technically get away with eating whatever sometimes as long as, it's reasonable, but it's more about how I feel because if I eat those foods, I'm not going to be as high energy as compared to, when I'm eating cleaner, so that's more where my motivation comes from, but everybody's different. Okay. Naturally thin people view health as a whole body, long term relationship, not a short term obsession. They view it as their lifestyle. Okay. They view it as their lifestyle. Okay. So I just wanted to clarify that the naturally fit versus like the toxically fit people. Maybe I'm going to change the title of this video to that instead. But I wanted to kind of clear that up because I wanted to share my philosophy around fitness and body image. And, you know, I know that everybody has such different takes, and I kind of touched on how this can be a very triggering topic. So I hope that through the more videos that you see on my channel and stuff revolving body image, revolving around fitness, that you kind of pick up on like my perspective and my view and kind of my coaching philosophy. And, you know, when you hear 90-day body transformation, I just want to erase the idea that this is about becoming as thin as possible. Like, that is not me. There are actually some coaches that can help you get that if that's what your desire is. But my whole philosophy is that you get to look the way that you want to look. Just wanted to clarify, though, that my offer isn't about necessarily achieving being skinny. It's about stepping into a healthier, more vibrant version of you that feels natural, not forced, and most importantly, you feel confident in that body, in that size. That's my goal. I respect people's right to look however they want, even if that means, you know, being thin, being this weight, having this much muscle, whatever it is, I totally respect a person's desire to look a certain way. I feel like that's just your right as a human being. Okay. So I just wanted to go into that today. Let me know what you thought about today's topic. If you're watching it in the replay, let me know in the comments. And I just wanted to also say that learning to trust yourself again and your decision making over your body is the key to changing your figure. I'm going to say that again because I seriously feel like sometimes the things I'm sharing get lost with like, just the internet and stuff. But hear me when I say this. If you're watching this video, first of all, if you stayed until the end, you're a real one. But if you're watching this video, please keep this in mind and remember this and adapt it to your life if you are looking to make changes in your body and feel confident and feel at home again, like not have this running background noise behind food, behind how you look. I'm speaking to you if that's you. Learning to trust yourself again and your decision making over your body is key to changing your figure. Okay, that's really what it comes down to. And that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a like, leave me a comment. Definitely check out my free 5-day guide. It's going to help you reset your body and your mind and kickstart your own body transformation if you feel like that's something that you can do on your own. That is a resource for you that I made with you in mind. Let me know if you enjoy these videos, what you want to see next. This was really a good one. I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I feel like it's nice to talk about these things that are kind of taboo, like being skinny and whatever. But I want to just start adding into the conversation around these trends and stuff. So I'll see you guys on the next live stream. I'm going to see if there were any comments that I didn't get to that I can get to now. But one sec. I'm glad that you decided to focus on positive topics. Thank you. Yeah, all of my information is always linked on my page if you're looking for that. Thanks for the compliments. What is a daily non-negotiable habit you have? A daily non-negotiable habit I have is, let me think. I definitely am active every day. I think that's one of my non-negotiables. I'm getting some kind of movement, some kind of activity every single day, even if I'm not necessarily at the gym. Um, let's see what else you guys are saying. It's definitely a lifestyle staying in shape. Yes, it is. After you get the body, then you have to maintain the body. So yeah, it's definitely a lifestyle. All right. So I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for joining my live. I really appreciate it. I'm going to share this on my YouTube channel if you missed the beginning of it. If you have anything to add or any other similar topics you want to see on this topic, let me know. And for the month of June, I have this offer, my 90-day body transformation program. After June, I don't think I'm going to be offering it anymore. So definitely check that out if it speaks to you, or check out my free 5-day body and mind reset guide linked for you guys in the comments on my chat, under my video on YouTube, and also on my page on TikTok. Thanks for liking the live. I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye. Appreciate it. All right. Bye, YouTube.